Komori, you there? Komori?
Hello?
Hey, I hate to be a lunatic, but it does look to me like there are two recurring meeting links. There's one 862061 and 889-690. Do you know which one it is? I mean, again, this.
Let me hold on, because there shouldn't. I didn't make the recurring.
No, I know you didn't.
Know.
So yeah. All right, I'm gonna call,
because I'm not sure which one it is either.
All right, you text Sarah. I'm gonna call Jeannie. All right,
okay,
bye.
cool.
Thanks. Bye.
Julie Harris is not available. Please leave a message after the tone.
Jenny, there are two coffee, and chat reoccurring meetings. One, 889-690-863, and another, 862-061-275. Which is it? Please let me know immediately. Thanks.
Hello?
Hey, I have an urgent request.
Okay.
This is the stuff that truly makes me just want to throw up. There are two reoccurring meetings in Zoom for the coffee call and chat. Can you quickly look at the invitation? One is, I just called Jenny, she didn't answer. Komori's texting Sarah. One is 889-690-863.
I know which one's the right one. One of them is set for PM. I don't know who made that one.
I mean, that to me, that's effing crazy. Which one is it?
So I can tell you. Hold on.
Yep.
I don't know who did that, and I almost deleted it yesterday, but I didn't know why it was there. So,
Yep.
So the correct one is the 889-690.
All right, that's the one I'm on. All right, I'm sorry, 889-690. That's the one I'm on. Perfect. Thank you. All right.
You're welcome.
See you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Can you hear me? Okay, good. How you doing? Let me see if I can unmute all.
Hey there, Ken.
Hey, hold on one second. I'm just going to mute myself. That we had some internal challenges. Oh, we're on. Okay. So it's good to see your faces. So if we're going to start the meeting promptly at 9:30, if people can go ahead and show their screen. I thought it might be in these crazy times so last night I was on I was on a virtual memorial service for one of my friend's dads. Last week I don't know if people in the Jewish tradition, if people know, I know Jeff Epstein knows what a yard site is. Do people know what that is?
Yeah, you
Oh.
mentioned it last week.
Yeah. So last week, so in the Jewish tradition, at the anniversary of someone's death, what Jews tend to do is we'll light a candle, and if you can, you would go to the cemetery, and Jews would leave a little pebble or a stone on the tombstone to tell the departed that you've been there. Anyway, so my friend's dad, who was I think 91 at the time, passed away 11 years ago. They couldn't go to the cemetery, so we had a virtual yard site ceremony last week. So I was thinking this morning, I was preparing for this, all of the interesting ways that I have used Zoom during the past several weeks. As I know some of you know me, Allison, from a number of years, I know this isn't a shock, but I'm a strong extrovert. So I know that's not a shock to maybe all of you, but one of the ways, again, Sarah, who is my erstwhile assistant, is smiling just because, frankly, to keep my own sanity, I'm grateful for Facebook that almost every day I see something funny, and some of them I repost. So keeping my sense of humor is important, and keeping in touch with my tribe is important. So one of the things, again, for those of you who know me, I'm a big believer, start on time, end on time. So I'm going to suggest we go ahead and get started. We've scheduled, so one of the things that we did when the coronavirus hit is we had to think about what could we do to support our clients and our colleagues in these really, really crazy times. And so we decided one of the things we could do, just because we have the technology and we know how to use it, we decided to host these 30-minute targeted sessions for our clients and colleagues. So last week, I did a session on how to work in a remote environment. I've had my own company for now, it's 24 years, and it's always been virtual. So we know how to do that. So if anyone wants a copy of that recording, you just send me an email, I'll send it out. Next week, we have a treat. One of our colleagues, Sarah Witt, is gonna do a session on how can you leverage Zoom, which is a pretty helpful tool. Some people use WebEx or Adobe Connect, GoToMeeting, but she's gonna talk about Zoom and how you can, Sarah, will it be a Zoom for beginners or it'll just be a Zoom class?
It'll be a Zoom for beginners, and it'll go through the whole platform, and I'll show you screenshots if you're not familiar with the platform and how to set it up if
That's
you want
great.
to set your own meetings up.
That's great. So I know one of the things that we will do after this session is we'll send all of you an email with some questions. One of the questions that we'll ask you is, what other sessions are you interested in? And we're going to continue doing these in the future. Other sessions in April. So we got Sarah's session next week on Zoom. I believe this is right. Kamori or Sarah, you can tell me if I'm wrong. We're going to do, I think, something on resilience. We're going to do a session on employee engagement, right? In April. And then, we'll plan out May and probably June and see where we're at. So if there are other sessions that you're interested in, just let us know. What I thought I'd do is keep us on the screen. And then I do, thanks to one of our colleagues, Jenny Harris, who's really, really talented graphically, is I do have a PowerPoint. If anyone wants a copy of my slides, just let me know. So what we're going to talk about, I know we have a mixture of colleagues and clients on the line. So as I said, I've had my own business. This is year 24, knock on wood. And the focus of our work is we do three things. We help clients develop their leadership capabilities. We help clients drive organizational change, and we help our clients to engage and retain top talent. Frankly, I think all those things are fairly relevant these days, fairly relevant. The good news for us is we have not lost one piece of business yet due to the coronavirus. You know, all of our coaching resources can be delivered virtually, and we've got 30 executive coaches, 12 action learning coaches, and 10 career coaches, and much of our training can be delivered virtually. We had our last holdout, as Sarah probably will smile, who is thinking about moving forward face-to-face, I think has made the decision to go virtual. So for my clients on the phone, if you're looking to do something to help engage and retain your talent, or feed them professionally, if we can help you in any way, I'm happy to have a conversation with you. So today's session is, what are the keys to leading in turbulent times? And I believe Allison, does the name Joe Rea ring a bell? Does that name ring a bell? No? So one of my dear friends, literally, he and I started our businesses together the same day 24 years ago. We had both worked for another consulting firm. The two partners decided they didn't want to be partners anymore. So literally, Joe and I bought some of the furniture, the file cabinets of this consulting firm. We bought a van and we moved some of the stuff into his home, some of the stuff in my home, and the rest is history. Joe has become a really dear friend, and it's his research that I'm going to share with you today. And one of the things I've talked with Joe about, well, we were supposed to, some of you may know, we had on the schedule that I was supposed to deliver a public workshop. Sarah, it was last week, right? On this topic. Obviously, people, that didn't happen just because no one's coming to a public workshop. But I think it's possible that we may host a public virtual session on this topic, all right? So if that's of interest either to you personally, if you're a consultant, you think, I might want to get certified to deliver that, or B, I've got a client who might be interested, or if you're I know we've got some clients on the phone, on the line that are, I know some of you are good managers. If you want to get some instruction regarding how can you more effectively lead in times of change, let us know. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go through the PowerPoint, and I know Komori is going to give me a heads up at 9:50, and I'm going to try to leave time for some questions, or frankly, to hear from you. What are some best practices? I'm more than okay if you have questions as we go. And if you do, everyone should, for me, it's at the top of my screen. You should have something that should say chat. And so if you do, you can, you can ask me a question, and I'll try to deal with some of them as we go. So as I said, my friend Joe Rea, he owns a company, Glimmerglass Consulting. And several years ago, he set out to do some research, and I know we provided him with some clients, and they asked senior executives two questions. One question, what expectations do you have of frontline mid-level managers in terms of leading in times of significant change? And the second question they asked is, what specific advice would you have for frontline leaders in terms of managing during kooky times? And I would say, as I said to Komori this morning, I think what we're experiencing now, we have never experienced as a country before. We never have. So it's uncharted territory. I know I am working with a coach myself just because I'm well aware this is different times, and different times require different strategies. And so I raised my hand saying, you know, I don't know how to manage this. I mean, again, we were 100% virtual company before this happened, but you know, it's kooky time. So he asked the 2 questions, which I think are important questions. And obviously, you know, frontline mid-level managers are critical during these times. I mean, all the data we have is people don't leave jobs, they leave because of crappy managers. And again, you can have senior executives doing all the right things, but if you have frontline middle-level managers, which are, you know, doing bad things, it can really hurt. So his research showed, he sort of synthesized it. Again, Sarah will smile at this. So my 2 favorite numbers are 3 and 10. 3 and 10. Is that right, Sarah? Yes, of course it is. So he synthesized this in terms of 3 key categories and 10 key themes. And I thought what I could do in a few minutes is share with you what are the 3 key themes, what are the 3 categories, and what are the 10 themes, and try to give you a couple of snippets. And then again, what I'll do is I'll open it up for questions. All right?
Can I make a suggestion really quickly?
Yeah.
If you are on the call and you're not muted, please mute yourself. There's some background noise that's coming in from somebody, and I can't tell who. So if you're not talking, mute yourself, and then that way, when Ken asks for you to talk, then you can unmute yourself and talk. Thank you.
That's great. And if anyone has any challenges hearing me or seeing my slides, Kamori put her email address up and she can help get you situated. That's not my thing. Obviously, I think in times of change, the research showed it. It's not my research, but the research that he got says where executives were not looking for entirely new set of leadership skills in times of change, which frankly isn't a surprise. I think, frankly, in good times, what we want leaders doing, and Sarah and I participated in a kickoff meeting yesterday with one of our clients that's kicking off, is it a 4-day or 5-day training session? 4-day. So this one client, for those people who consult with or work in the federal government is required to offer some training for new supervisors. And so we're delivering this, again, we're supposed to do it face-to-face. They told us literally the federal agency is locked down. No one can enter it. They don't even have security guards there. So we're going to be delivering the training virtually. So in good times, we want managers focusing on the basics. I think in bad times or in times of change, what we need the frontline mid-level managers and senior executives to do is to be the best that they can be in doing the basics well, Whoop. So the 3 categories of things that Joe's research showed, which again, for those people who work in the government, you'll see some connection to the Office of Personnel Management's executive core qualifications. Again, not a surprise. So the 3 categories of what Joe's research shows are the 3 things that we need mid-level frontline leaders to do are A, lead yourself, B, lead your people, C, lead the business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about each one of those. So in terms of the first category, lead yourself. So one of the things that Joe's research showed is that leaders need to embrace their role as a leader. That again, during times of change, people are going to take their cues from their leaders. And so again, one of my favorite poems in the world, If by Rudyard Kipling. Do people know it? Shake your heads, I know of it. If you don't know it, you should Google it. There's a line in there, if you can keep your head about yourself when everyone is losing theirs, you'll be a man, my son. And so I think one of the things that the research showed is that the leaders need to embrace that their role in times of change is critical. And so Joe he identified for each of these what was the key. He had some specific recommendations, and then he has quotes from some of the senior executives. So I thought a quote on this one was important. He says, "These leadership skills are necessary for good leaders in all circumstances. They're even more critical in times of change and uncertainty." And I would agree with that in turbulent times, it's critical that leaders get it. The second thing that I think leaders need to do is understand the changing environment. So let's just peel that back a little bit during this time. So I think it's important for leaders during the coronavirus pandemic to understand. I saw an article today, and if anyone wants a copy, you email me, I'll send it to you. I've seen lots of articles on how do you more effectively work remotely. Today, someone posted something on LinkedIn, or what are the keys to effectively managing remote employees? And not surprisingly, I find many Harvard Business Review articles to be excellent. If anyone wants a copy of it, email me and I will let you know. But obviously, it would be important during these changing times for leaders to understand how is everyone doing, what's the telework policy in your agency, what are some of the fears that people are having, what are some ways, some processes that you can use to more effectively engage and continue to get work done. But if you don't understand the current environment, it's possible that you may be ready, fire, aim, and that right now is not a good idea. It's ready, aim, fire. The next thing I think you need to do is to manage yourself and your demeanor. I had a conversation with Komori this morning. And again, I'll be the first to say everyone in Boxer Advisors is tapped out. We have one of our colleagues, she's got 4 kids. Now they're all home. Sarah has got a young daughter. They're out of school for the rest of the year. People are afraid, and I'll admit that I'm probably not 100% these days, and I'm more than a little bit stressed out. Again, having your own business is stressful during these times, and so I think it is important for senior leaders to lead by example, for the leaders, mid-level managers, frontline managers to be calm, to be positive, and again, Komori said this to me today, and I'm going to do it we have a 15-minute stand-up meeting every Friday. And I told her, and she's on the line, to watch for this. I'm going to do something tomorrow to try to communicate my concern and care for our team. Those are the important things that I think you need to do as a leader. So the next thing is to get, the next level is, to lead the people. And so, again, during times of change, I think it's important for the leaders, again, for many organizations, work continues. And so I think during these crazy times, that adage, if everything's important, nothing's important. I think during these turbulent times, it's really important for leaders to communicate to their people what is relatively most important. And Sarah can clarify this. I have communicated to my team that the #1 priority is for us to delight our current clients. And for those people who are consultants, and for those people who work inside, you may be aware the amount of time and effort it takes to win business. And so one of my colleagues, Skip Pettit, was on a conference call with one of our clients. We're kicking off a new diversity training initiative for them next week. And I called Skip before the meeting. I said, Skip, why don't you do this? Why don't you offer them a complimentary 30-minute webinar in 45 days after the session? it's a little thing that we can do. Again, we know that follow-up to training is important. And I think anything that we can do to delight our current clients, that's an A. And then anything we can do to win new business is an A2. The next thing, and I think you have to continue to reassess and re-communicate priorities. The next thing you can do is probably, I think the secret weapon of most leaders, and I can remember a year ago consulting with the company that Allison worked for, Crown Central Petroleum. And I can remember telling, no names, some of the senior executives how important it was to over-communicate during times of change. I think sometimes when organizations are going through change, senior leaders sort of, recoil and say, look, we don't have all the answers. I'm not going to communicate until I have it perfect. That's not the right answer. It's not. Just because most people, if you wait until you have the perfect answer, I can tell you what's going to happen. People are going to be talking at the water cooler, either virtually, they're not at a water cooler now, but they'll be talking amongst themselves, and their news will be exponentially worse than anything that you can come up with. So I think just making sure you communicate, obviously engaging staff. This is a perfect time for you to be thinking about ways to engage staff members and taking on new assignments, maybe taking some leadership in some process improvement efforts, maybe engaging staff regarding ways that we can communicate. Again, I engaged Sarah. She's going to do one of these webinars next week. She's better than me in terms of understanding Zoom, so it made perfect sense. I think the other thing that leaders can do in times of change is refine your ongoing performance management techniques. And the one thing that I would say, obviously, you're not going to tweak the system now. That's not going to happen. But I think typically in a performance management process, most managers understand the need for having career development conversations with your people. During turbulent times, I would put that as an A. That's an A. Understanding what are your people's aspirations, what are their hopes, what are their fears, what are some ways they can develop in the short term. Whoop, sorry. The next thing I think you can do, the last thing is manage the business, And a couple of things we'll do, and then I'll stop and I'll answer whatever questions you've got, is I think you can encourage creativity and innovation. So one of the things that we have done in the past week is I've held listening sessions with all of our coaches. We did one with our executive coaches, one with our career coaches, one with our action learning coaches, to talk about what are some ways that we can increase the delight factor of our current clients, and how can we be selling more coaching? And I asked everyone, what are you willing to do to help us do that? And so, people came up with some creative ideas, and you'll see some things coming out from us about some of the ideas that people had about what we can do. I think the next thing you can do is raise the issue around resource management. Again, my daughter-in-law works in the purchasing department for one of the largest retailers in the United States. As you might imagine, they are getting their asses kicked right now. They're just clobbered. She has the uncomfortable task of having to call vendors and say, hey, can we cut this contract? Can we renegotiate terms? Those are not fun conversations to be having. They're not. I know for us, again, we're looking at every expenditure and saying, how can we cut and not cut people We're actually looking to hire more people, which is an interesting thing. And I think the last thing you can do to manage the business is find opportunities for future success. At some point, Dr. Fauci talks about the curve with coronavirus. At some point, I don't know when, the curve will flatten out. We will go back to normal. And those organizations that are poised to take advantage in the new times will be those organizations that succeed. I'm going to stop now and I'm happy to answer any questions, or if you have a best practice of something that you're doing or you're seeing a frontline or mid-level manager doing, you can, I think this is right, Kamori, you can tell me, people can either raise their hand. How do they do that, Kamori? Or
There
Sarah?
should be an option next to your name where you can raise your hand.
Gotcha.
It'll
So
even
if
say that.
anyone has any questions, you can either raise your hand, or you can type the question in the chat bar, and I'm happy to answer any questions. You don't have to ask the question. If people would like a copy of the slides, you send me an email, I'll send them to you. I don't see any.
Or if you guys want to talk, you can also just unmute yourselves.
There you go. Oh, I didn't do this. That's all right. We're good. So I'll ask you all a
Actually, I
question.
would like to see that last slide you just popped up.
Who was that?
That's John Verico. How are you, Ken?
Hey, John. Good to hear your voice. So one of the things that's in the workshop is a toolkit about some change management tools. So I could do 60 seconds on one of them. Would that be of interest, John? Or do you have a question on it?
No, that'd be great.
Yeah. So one of my favorite tools is a force field analysis. Force field analysis. Does everyone have a piece of paper handy? Yes? If you do, what you do is you draw a line like this down the page and then draw one across. And then what you do is I don't know if you can see this. You draw an arrow. What's pushing you forward? Those are the driving forces. And then you draw an arrow. I don't know if people can you see this? An arrow back. What are the restraining forces? So a force field analysis, basically what you're trying to do is identify what's the current state. So that's the place you're at today. And then you might say, what's the end state? I can tell you for us, I'm trying to manage the business right now in a 90-day horizon. 90-day horizon. So I'm looking April, May, June, and I'm trying to set specific goals for us to achieve by June. And so the driving forces are what's helping us get there. For us, the good news is we have a lot of virtual resources that can help our clients at this time. That's the good news. The good news is we've got a lot of talented people who are able to do work for us. The great news is we've got an outstanding team of people that supports me and our efforts to delight our clients. The restraining forces, I think, are a couple of them. One, budgets are getting clobbered in the corporate sector. So we submitted a proposal this week to deliver 2 webinars for clients, one on leading global teams and one on this exact curricula on leading turbulent times. And when we ran the budget, frankly, at the end of the day, the client did tell me what their budget was, and it was about a fourth of what we had estimated. And so we had to quickly scramble to say, all right, what could we do to meet their budgets? I think the other restraining force for us at this time is people are crazed and I think half paying attention. So again, the force field analysis allows you to create a fact-based assessment about what's helping you and what's getting in the way of accomplishing your goals. Any other questions that people have, I'm happy to answer them. Or again, if you're aware of any best practices that you've seen leaders exhibit during these turbulent times, would love to hear them. Hey, Sarah or Kamori, do you have a question for me?
I do not actually.
Okay. All right. Tom Holloway, I'm going to pick on you. You don't have one question? No? You're good?
Hey, Ken, can you hear me?
I can. Zabe, go crazy.
Good, good. The only thing I was going to add a comment, it's not really a question, it's more of a comment. In my line of business, it's all about relationships. So we've been making lots of calls, obviously, with what's happening with the markets and the economy, and not
Right.
even talking about business, but more talking about how are you, how's your family. And I've noticed my manager of the office has done the same thing with his advisors, not calling and saying, what are you doing to drive revenue, but how are you, how's your family, is there anything I can do for you? And I found that very disarming, right? You're expecting a call to be like, hey, what are you doing? How many appointments you got? What's going on?
Right.
He's not one word about business. It's all about what can I do
Yep.
for you, anything you need.
Yeah.
I found doing that same thing for my own clients, not talking about, portfolios and things like that, but more about, is there anything I could be doing for you right now in this time, has been a much better way of starting a conversation and maintaining that relationship.
I agree. We've got 60 seconds left. So Jeffrey Epstein, I know you're on the call. If I don't get it right, correct me. There's a very famous Maya Angelou quote that people will forget what you did. They may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And I think in this environment, what Zabe said is a bullseye, that we all have to remember, it is how you make people feel. Kamori and I had a conversation today. I did some things yesterday that weren't so good. And I apologize to her just because at the end of the day, it is how you make people feel. And I think we all should be thinking about that in terms of how do we treat our clients? How do we treat our colleagues? How do we treat our customers? I think that's a key thing. So again, I said we'd start on time and end on time. I would ask everyone to write down 2 questions on a piece of paper. What's one thing that you learned or confirmed from this session and this highlight of 10 things? And what's one action that you can do today to exemplify some of these 10 leadership practices? We will send you out a quick survey. Again, I know one of the questions we'll ask you is, are there any other ideas that you have about sessions that you'd like to see us do? With that, if anyone has any questions, I will stay on the phone. If not, again, I'm a big believer, you got to start on time and end on time. And so with that, if you want to go, have a great rest of the day.
Can you stay on the line? I just wanted to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Jeff had a great quote. Anyone can hold the helm when the sea is calm. That's a great quote. Anyone can hold the helm when the sea is calm. I couldn't agree more. So again, thanks all of you for signing in. Have a great rest of the day and a great end to your weekend. If anyone wants to stay on, I'll stay on for a few minutes. So Susan, I'll let you have the floor.
Thanks, Ken.
Yep, thanks everybody.
And thank you, Ken. I want to connect with you at some point and just see how you're doing, okay?
All right. Great
Thanks.
to see you, Allison.
You too.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Ken. Stay safe.
Likewise, everybody. All right, Susan.
Okay. Quick question. Is there a 2 o'clock colleague roundtable?
There is.
I'm not getting any of the emails or anything for the coaching cadre, like for the executive.
Gotcha. So what I will do, Susan, is I will send you. So basically, I'll send you. We did a little survey to identify what are the things that we can be doing. And so I'll make sure we send that to you today. If you have some thoughts, weigh in. The key thing is, just because, again, Sarah and Kamori can confirm, I'm trying to go fast in these times. And so if you fill out the survey, which should take you 5 minutes before Friday, I will send an email out to you letting you know what are the things that we're going to do in the next 30 days. All right?
Yeah, that would be great.
All right. Thanks, Zabe. Great to see your voice. I will see each other next week at the virtual book club social gathering. Yes?
Yes, I'll be there. Hey, Ken, I got a quick question. My company is doing a webinar tomorrow on the CARES Act for small business owners, kind of giving them a synopsis of what they can utilize in that act. Do you want me to forward you through email that information?
I would forward it, and what I would ask you to do, just because I don't really know what that is.
So the new care package that just got passed, the bill that Congress just passed.
I see. So I would say send it to me, and I assume you're focusing on the state of Virginia, right?
Well, no, this is me personally, yes, but the act itself.
There may be other small business owners that I know that might want to attend. So
that's what I was thinking, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely send it to me. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, I will.
And Zabe, since you're on the phone, I assume you would be open to maybe having a cup of coffee or a bagel or whatever you do for breakfast, like we're gonna do, but doing it virtually.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll send you an invite. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you. All right. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks, Zabe. Good to see you, Susan. See you this afternoon.
So much.
All right. Bye now.